How about a Shivering Isles Let's Play? Yeah, why not? That's a very interesting. I love Sharagoas's realm. It's very beautiful, actually. Well, it reminds. A lot of people will probably agree. It's obvious, right? It reminds me of Morrowind. Gee, I wonder why. But yeah. Oh yes, the famous question: do you prefer Morrowind or Oblivion? And I guess a lot of people are secretly hoping that someday I will prefer Morrowind over Oblivion, and they might be true. Maybe at the end, I will admit it. But for now, I still prefer Oblivion. It's a much more accessible game, and you know, I don't care for graphics, and although I would be lying if the graphics didn't make a difference. But for me, it's the speed of the game. One person mentioned at one point that they thought I was floating when I was running in Oblivion. Yes, you run really fast in Oblivion. And yes, the stats don't really matter for running, although they do change a few things. But, you know, but running in Morrowind, and I know you can run faster in Morrowind, like if you had a more healthy character with better speed stats and stuff like that. But the game is... I was going to say so slow. The game is slow. And I'm not talking about frame rate or anything like that. I know that's a problem with my computer. But I'm not talking about smoothness. But even smoothness, like Morrowind, Oblivion plays a lot better on my machine. So obviously, and I've played Morrowind a couple of times. Like I have Morrowind installed on my boot camp, and it runs flawlessly. It's a perfect game there. But even then, I still prefer Oblivion. I still prefer having the sword on my like an item taking this much space on my screen, and having, I think that's the main issue, the interface with Oblivion. You can have you press tab, you see your interface, and I know a lot of people have issues with the interface, but I guess that would be one of the reasons where if you press tab, you see the interface, you see your inventory, and oh look, you have a sword or a dagger, and you know exactly just by glancing at it what it's about. Whereas for Morrowind, you have to, well, it's all tiny icons, right? So you look at it and you say, oh well, that's, what does it look like? Well, it looks like a little stabby thingy, so it could be a sword or a dagger. You look at it and you mouse over and you go, oh okay, it's a dagger, and here's the stats. And it's a perfectly fine interface, but for me it's not as streamlined. And when I press tab, I want to see my information and press tab again or whatever. So I think for me, Oblivion is a lot better, especially with the poison, like imbuing of poisons. I know Morrowind can be modded, but so can Oblivion. So the mod thing is null. I don't even consider that. I can play both games in vanilla in any case. So yes, again, I'm still prefer Oblivion. So moving on. Do you play WoW? World of Warcraft. Do you think it's worth the money and time? Are you looking for a Cataclysm? I don't play a WoW anymore. Then again, this is an on and off relationship, meaning that I always come back to it. Like I started when I was in beta, when the game was in beta, and I played maybe 3 years straight, and after that I came off it, and then I came back on it. And off, and on, and off. It depends on my my mood. Depends on what I'm doing at the time, like work-wise. It depends if I have, it depends on if I have the time to invest with it, because it is a time investment and a money investment. Is it worth every single penny? Yes, it is. I truly believe that it's worth every single. Of course, there are some people that really hate those type of games. Perfectly fine. Don't play them if you really know that's not your thing. But if you're slightly curious, I would say try it. Especially since there's a 10-day trial, I think, for World of Warcraft. Try it. You see it. The community is awesome. But obviously you have to join a guild to get into the community part. Because if you're pugging it, like the term is called, if you it's a pickup group. If you use a random person as your partner, like your party members, then it's not as enjoyable, because people can really be annoying online. It's like any other online game. multiplayer game, I should say. Like, some people are idiots, some people are, you know, are very insulting. But yeah, I personally like it. Now, am I looking forward to Cataclysm? Yes and no. Now, the reason I say no is because, well, here's the reason why I stopped playing. First of all, I don't have the time committed to play WoW anymore. And two, the game is not the way I remember. Like, they changed the game so much, it's not what it used to be. And for a player that's played the game since the very beginning, for me it hurts. Because there's so many things that, you know, there's one way of looking at it is from a veteran perspective where, oh my god, you know, mounts, you can get them at level 20 now, and it's like a, you know, it costs, let's say it still costs 100 gold to get a mount. I think that's what it used to cost in any case. Even if it's at the same price, now gold is, like, the value of gold is different. It's so much easier to play the game now. I've just saw a friend of mine play a new character, and I noticed that the starting locations, all the enemies are yellow, meaning that they're neutral until you hit them. That didn't used to be like that. But even some changes like the battlegrounds, I like battlegrounds, and I hate them at the same time, because the moment you implement battlegrounds into a game, and the battleground, for those who don't know, it's some type of arena where you queue up, you do your thing, and once there's enough people to play a game, like, it could be anything from capture the flag to, let's say, a conquest game, like, let's say Battlefield 1942, that type of game, you know. It's like a multiplayer game inside a massively multiplayer game. Does that make any sense? In any case, if you have a system like that, you completely cut off the world PvP mechanic of the game. And there is absolutely no reason to play in a PvP server if you have battlegrounds, because that's where the PvP is at. And I have a huge issue with that, because I used to love the way... Okay, there's ganking, yes, but that's the only type of... I don't want to play the gank. I hate ganking. I don't want to gank, I don't want to be ganked, and there's no reason to play on a PvP server. So yes, you can play on a PvE server and then do battlegrounds in arenas, but after doing it like after 100 games on a single day or a weekend, you get tired of playing those games. And there's only like 3, 4, maybe 5 scenarios. And then what? You know, you go to the open world and you're looking for a fight, but there's nobody to fight unless you're killing people that are trying to level up, or, you know, even if you kill them, then they'll bring their high level character, and I don't know, it's just, for me, that's not worth it anymore for me. Now, am I looking forward to Cataclysm? Not really. I'm curious. I guess that's the best way to putting it. Do I intend to play WoW once Cataclysm is up? Most likely. But we'll see after that, in the sense that, like, if I don't like what I see, like, I've seen the Worgans, and I don't like what I'm seeing. The female Worgans are... What? No! It's like the goblins. What the hell? I'm glad that they're back on the Horde, but they're not the same. It's really not the same game. It's not the same Warcraft, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, oh, well, it keeps changing, but at the same time, like, they have motorcycles in the game now. Yeah. Like, I had a hard time getting tanks into my mind with Warcraft 3. Like, they actually have tanks. They don't look like tanks, but it's like a it's a can with wheels and a huge cannon on top, and they have that in World of Warcraft now. But they have motorcycles, they have flying vehicles, and they used to have gyrocopters in the game, but now it's completely ridiculous.